So, are you ready for parenting tip number 25? This is from the 7 Habits of Happy Kids from Sean Covey, a book that I highly recommend. I wish I had this book when my kids were younger. So, this tip has to do with listen before you talk. I think many of us don't we want our kids to listen before they talk, but we don't explain like why. So maybe explain that in order to have more successful communication, less miscommunication, less not feeling heard and understood, listening, contemplating, sometimes taking a deep breath before they respond will make their communication interactions a lot more peaceful and more successful. So, this is what you have your kids say: I listen to other people's ideas and feelings. I try to see things from their viewpoints. I listen to others without interrupting. I'm confident in voicing my ideas. And most of all, I've taught my girls who are so shy when they were younger to look people in the eye when they're talking. I don't know if you've come across some adults even that have a very difficult time looking other people in the eye. And Chelsea has come across managers, sometimes fellow coworkers, that have a really difficult time looking at her. They'll either look on the side or look behind her, or they just feel uncomfortable looking someone in the eye. It does take confidence. It does sometimes feel uncomfortable if you are insecure or you just don't, your self esteem isn't quite there yet. So I think this is one of the most important habits of happy children is to teach self-confidence, teach them, when they feel valued and they feel that the need to listen before responding, that would make the things that are happening now with the protests and people not feeling understood. Many times it's because, I don't want to make it political, but many times if we do not feel heard, we tend to talk over people. And I know that I've been guilty of that because you want to make your point, you want to say it before you forget it. So you end up talking over the person, or we prepare for our response while the other person is talking, which means we're not really focused on what the other person is saying. We're just focused on the words we plan to say in response to whatever is said to us, especially in an argument. I'm famous for that, right? Right in the middle of an argument, I'll know like the exact words to say to prove my point before the other person finishes. And I blame being an only child, but I'm learning as a parent, as a coach, as an educator, that I need to really listen. So recently, I have a 4-year-old student who says, Miss Karen, listen, 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 listen. And so I will listen, but I will just tell him, how 4-year-olds can just talk about 10,000 things at once. I'll say, okay, I'll listen to this one thing, but after that, we need to focus on our lesson. But the last thing that you want to do is not hear your child's viewpoint, even though you think it might be a lie, even though they might be disrespectful, even though you might not agree with what their viewpoint is. But if we take time to take a deep breath, listen without judgment, which is the hardest thing, I think it will really change the way that we communicate, the way that, we deal with emotions, especially when it becomes an emotional issue, or suppose it's a challenge that's happening. It is difficult to stay cool, to stay calm, and just listen without judgment. So we teach our kids at a young age to listen to opposing viewpoints, to really, be present and not really speak before we hear the other side of the story that the person is communicating. So, tip number 25 is habit 5 of the 7 habits of happy children, once again by Steve Covey. And tomorrow will be not Steve Covey. Steve Covey is Sean Covey's dad, who does the 7 highly effective habits for successful people. I'm not sure if I'm quoting the exact title, but I strongly, strongly advocate the 7 habits of healthy kids. And tomorrow we will discuss parenting tip number 26. So today is August 4th, and we were supposed to have school start, but it's August 17th, the new date. I think many of us are wondering what's going to happen on August 17th. Maybe we should listen without responding. I know it's a very hot, controversial topic about how we should, when we should open the schools, how should we open the schools so that children and teachers feel safe. So on that note, let's practice listening and teaching the value of listening and not judging opinions that are opposite of our viewpoints. And with that, I will continue on tomorrow with parenting tip number 26. Bye.